Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's episode is going to be about stocks. Before I do get started today, I do want to share with you one thing. For the people out there who are afraid of the stock market, who are unsure of what to do or how to invest, first of all, go watch that first video I made. But if you've come from that first video and you're here now, I am going to try to help you become an expert. And I can't guarantee that I will do that, but I will try my best because I believe the stock market is about helping each other make money. It's a group effort. It's a collective. We all come together to help each other. Before I get into anything, I want you to understand one thing. The opinions that I share here, as well as the stocks that I may talk about, are strictly my business. And I'm choosing to share that information with you, right? You don't have to take that advice. You don't have to pay attention to what I say. However, I'm going to prove to you how you can make money because I did it since the last episode, and I want you to start creating wealth for yourself. What is wealth? Wealth is you setting yourself up for the future without having to worry anymore. Let's say I have enough money to survive for the next year. That means I have wealth for the next year because I'm no longer stressed. I'm no longer worried about those burdens. Wealth means I can survive on a certain amount of income without having any problems or stresses. That's wealth. So I want to help you create some wealth for yourself in the long term because what do I always say? You should know this if you've been watching. The stock market is about holding for the long term. Now, some people might say that the stock market is a better savings account than a savings account. And I personally would say that I agree with those people because I've kind of fallen into that. Now, today's episode is going to deal with penny stocks mainly because that's kind of where I've been making my money. And I've made a pretty good chunk of change within the last couple of weeks since I made that last video. If I'm being completely honest, I've probably turned over now at least $2,500 in a $1,300 investment, and I want to share the company that I did it with. Now, this company is very, very, very much on the rise, and it is a company known as Genius Brands, right? Genius Brands on the stock market is known as GNUS, and this company has netted me now, like I said, $2,500 in profit in the course of, I think, 4 weeks or however long it was since I made that last video. So why has this stock made me so much money? Here's what I want you to know. When it comes to the stock market, what is the one thing you really want? Ask yourself. What is the one thing you want? Is it more money, as in your shares go up and you grow? Or do you want to diversify your portfolio to have different ways of making money? Or are you trying to day trade? Or are you trying to be a shorter? What kind of investor do you want to be? Ask yourself that question. And then become that person. My biggest focus personally, and this is just recently because I started to really think about it, is focusing on volume, right? Now, in my last video, I mentioned volume is quantity, right? So if we're focusing on volume, it means that we're focusing on companies that can give us the most shares for the lowest price. Penny stocks allow me to have larger volume, which allows me to have a larger profit because I have more shares. The best way to make profit in the market is to have a lot of shares in a company that you believe is going to go up in price. Their stock is going to go up, meaning that each share will now be making you profit. Please like this video if you're enjoying it because it does help me with the YouTube algorithm and it does help me promote knowledge that we're learning here. There are two big things that I've learned since the last video and I wanted to share with you those two things. Now, the first one is discipline. And that comes with waking up during the market hours, being active during the market hours, paying attention to the market, paying attention to the comment section, paying attention to the news, the analysis, all of it. Discipline is key to make money. Let me repeat that. Discipline is key to making money, at least here. Because as soon as you walk away and you leave the money in there and you're not consistently checking, you might miss out on the opportunity to make a lot of profit without cashing it in because you weren't paying attention. But at the same time, that does bring me to the second thing I learned, which is don't be greedy. And this one is very important because personally, there have been instances in my own portfolio where I could have cashed in and made a lot of money, but I decided to hold on to my stocks and wait. And I decided to see what would happen in the following days. And I have to tell you that that is usually the best option, unless you see that company just tanking or they had a huge rise and then suddenly the dip is very intense, very quick. And if you want to lock in some profit, you usually want to have some sort of stop loss set in place so that if the stock does start to dip really low, at least you lock in some profit. That is something you want to think about. There are going to be times when you might be making a lot of money and the greed will consume you. And when I say this, I do mean literally the greed will consume you. You will start seeing the amount of money that you're making, and suddenly you'll say, oh, I'm not going to sell. I'm going to wait. Oh shit, it's going up. And then all of a sudden there's a huge sharp dip and you didn't sell at the high point. And now you're trying to sell at the low point, right? And that doesn't necessarily help because you're not going to lock in any profits that way. And this is more talking about day trading in the sense of locking in profits for the long term and then buying back when it drops. Buying back at the dip is what they say. Discipline and greed, two things that you want to pay attention to and you want to be aware of for the future. Be disciplined and don't be greedy. Two big lessons that I've learned already. And I just wanted to share those with you. In the future, I want to be discussing things that people are curious to know about. If you want stock options, I can give you stock options. But at the same time, I want you to do your own independent research. I want you to feel strong enough to maybe suggest a stock to me. Send me a message and say, hey, have you checked out this stock? Because like I said at the beginning, this community is all about helping each other. It's all about working together. And it's all about how do we all create wealth for ourselves. Not just how does one person create wealth for themselves, but how does everyone create wealth for themselves. In the future, I do want to take you step by step through the process of how to place an order and buy something on the market or sell. Just for those people who might still be confused with the technicalities of how the apps work. It's very simple, but I completely understand, and I know things can get confusing. I just want you to know there's a lot of companies out there that I want you to pay attention to, and I want you to look into. In the future, when I have more capital, I will be investing in a lot more companies. But for now, my focus is very much on Genius, and I have a lot of my portfolio invested in Genius because it's making me money and because it's really allowing me to just kind of like experience the full effect of holding onto a stock. If you are looking for something that you feel will be a worthwhile investment, I guarantee, and remember what I said at the very beginning of this video, I personally guarantee this for myself, I will be holding on to Genius. And I will probably be buying more because they launch on June 15th and there is a lot of good press surrounding this company. There is a lot of really, really exciting things that they're doing. And personally, I just think that it's going to succeed. In the next video, I will be going over a couple more stocks that I've invested in. I don't necessarily want to just tell you the stocks that I'm investing in because some of these are very risky and I personally don't have full faith in those just yet. Genius, however, is a stock that I can pretty much guarantee is going to go up because of the fact that I've invested a lot of money and I've seen a lot of great return. Now, you want to get in sooner rather than later with a stock like this, with a company like this, because they launch on June 15th and their network of shows is going to be live and active. And if you want to be a part of that, you're going to want to make sure that you buy the stock right now and that you hold on to it for the long term. In the future, I do want to also talk about options trading, as well as talking about different ways and different methods of trading on the market. Now, I do want to mention something that I talked about in the first video, and I want to talk about how this affects trading. So I did mention in the last video pre-market and after hours trading. Now, what is usually taking place here during this pre-market hour is that there's initial investors who are already kind of gauging where the stock is going to go, but it doesn't have a great impact on what will happen when the actual floodgates open, where the market is now open to everyone, because pre-market and after hours is extended hours that you're allowed to trade and see how the stock is doing, because sometimes after hours the stock might go way up, right? And pre-market it might go way down, and then the market opens and you see that shift. Those two avenues are basically there to just allow you to jump in on an increase that may be happening really fast, or jumping in on a stock before the next market open, which allows you to maybe find a lower price or maybe jump in on some profits. So I just wanted to talk about that. One thing I do want to distill is this myth that the stock market is very confusing and very complicated, because it's not. This is one of the simplest jobs that you're going to find. And by job, I really mean side hustle. The stock market should become your side hustle, because your regular income should feed into it. And then that becomes your secondary income, right? And that kind of branches out and becomes a lot of wealth over time. So to recap, penny stocks are the best place you want to go to get a large volume of shares, so that you can get the largest amount of profit. Obviously, not every single penny stock is going to go up, right? They might stay at the price that they're in for a really long time, and they might not show any type of change anytime soon. But there are companies out there who might skyrocket overnight, who you might see changes to that you never expected. So you have to be prepared for those things. You have to be prepared for loss and for gain. Like I mentioned before, the stock market is a bit of a gamble. But if you're not willing to gamble, then you'll never win. And if there's the possibility that you can win, wouldn't you want to go and take that gamble? How do you get into penny stock trading? Well, I will tell you the same thing I told you last time. Download one of those great apps, right? And after you've done that, start to focus on the companies that you know are going to go up. How do you figure that out, right? That's what you're going to ask. How do I figure out which companies are going up? Do research. Go and investigate. Don't expect somebody to hand out a good choice to invest in, unless you do stumble upon it, which does happen. And it has happened to me before. But don't expect it. Don't expect people to just give you the answers to which stocks you should invest in. You yourself need to do research, especially if you're going to be investing your money. Anytime you're investing your own money into anything, you want to do as much research as possible, because let's be honest here. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? That stock that was making you thousands, tomorrow drops, dips so low, you lose all your money. The likelihood of that happening is very low, but it's a possibility, and you have to be prepared for that. One of the things I'm trying to do is get to the point where I have each of my stocks at a position where I have shares that I can play with, right? So if I have 1,000 shares, the top 200, the 20%, I play with, right? Maybe I sell that off, make a little profit, collect it, and then come back to it when it dips. And if it doesn't dip, well then, maybe I buy back in at a little bit higher, because that does happen. Sometimes you sell thinking that the stock is going down when it's actually on its way up. That happened to me. And I had to buy back in at a little bit of a higher price. And I was kind of upset with myself, because I was like, I shouldn't have done that. I could have locked in more profits. But that's the same principle. I was trying to not be greedy, and I should have been, but it's good, because it taught me that in reality, it's just better to hold on to it for the long term, unless the company's doing bad. Hold on to these stocks in order to get the biggest benefit out of them. Whatever the company may be, whatever they may be doing, give them time. Give other people time to find the company, to learn about them. And don't forget to always talk about the companies that you're invested in, because guess what? That motivates other people to get invested, and that only makes your share price go up. The more people you tell about it and the more people that invest in it, that means your shares go up. Their shares go up as well. You all make money. That's why I share with you Genius, because I know for a fact that that stock is going to be doing great. And I hope that you take full advantage of it. And if you don't, that's completely okay too, because the rest of us are going to be enjoying it. If that's not enough for you, I don't know what is. There's one last thing that I want to share with you before I let you go, and that is to trust in yourself. And when I say that, I mean trust your gut, trust your instinct, because this is your money and this is your portfolio that you're creating here, not mine, yours. And I need you to understand that if you feel like a stock might go up or a stock might go down, trust it. I know at times things can feel overwhelming, especially when it comes to trading and learning and doing research. But trust me, like many other things in life, if you invest the time, you will see some form of profit, whether that's through knowledge or through money. And I really want you to benefit from these penny stocks as well as the market itself, because I think that it's a good time to get in. Coronavirus is kind of passing. There's still a lot of other companies that, like I mentioned in my last video with the PTC, we could see all of those companies go back up. We could be seeing companies going back up to their regular prior to COVID prices. So be prepared, because people were doubting the airlines and then they went back up after that long dip. People made money off of that. You could have probably made money off of that. I know people who made money off of that because they told me. Don't listen to other people. Listen to yourself. Do your own research. And that doesn't just fall for stocks. That falls for everything that you see and read, any form of media that you consume. Do your own independent research, because in the long run, it's only beneficial for you, because you kind of can only trust yourself out here sometimes. And people who obviously walk with the Lord, because they got Jesus on their backs. He's watching their six. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please go and invest in the market if you haven't, even if it's just as little as $100. Take the time, $10 on 10 different stocks. See what happens. Try to see if you can make some money. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for future updates as well as the next video in the series. And make sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed yourself. It only helps me, and I appreciate it so much. I hope that this video taught you a couple things and that it opened your mind to the fact that you can also invest and become rich and create wealth in this economy and in this market. So don't be afraid to get started. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments section, because I will do my best to answer them as well as to show you the right resources. I also want to point out that I personally have a group chat on Instagram where we discuss stocks, trading. We give you some options. If you want to be a part of that, please send me a message in some form of way. There's a lot of places you can reach me. You can even reach out to me on Instagram and I'll add you right there. It's through a different account that I have, but we can get into that when and if you decide that you want to be a part of that group. But that's an open invitation to anybody who wants to just have an open forum to discuss and to help each other out, because at the end of the day, like I said, that's what it's about. It's about helping everyone out so that we can all create wealth together. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you so much. Subscribe, like, and put that notification bell on, because you do not want to miss the videos that are going to be coming out of this channel. Stay curious, everyone. Stay focused. Stay safe. And I'll see you on the next one.